Some westerns became legends, and others got buried so deep even Hollywood forgot they existed. Today we're dusting off 10 overlooked, underrated, almost forgotten westerns that deserve way more attention. So tighten your saddle, because we're riding straight into the forgotten side of the Wild West. 1. The Tall T, 1957. If you love westerns that build tension slowly and explode at the perfect moment, The Tall T is exactly that kind of movie, but stretched out in a way that pulls you deeper with every scene. It follows Randolph Scott as a calm, quietly determined rancher who ends up in the wrong place at the wrong time when a simple stagecoach ride turns into a dangerous hijacking. What makes this movie feel so special is the patience it has. Nothing is rushed. Every pause, every stare, every line of dialogue sits there like a loaded gun waiting to go off. The atmosphere is tight without ever feeling forced. The villains aren't cartoonishly evil. They're unsettling because of how casual and controlled they are. They talk softly, they move slowly, and yet you feel this constant threat hanging in the air. Their conversations with Scott feel like careful chess moves, where one wrong sentence could get someone killed. Bud Budisher, the director, had a talent for taking simple setups and squeezing them until the tension felt almost unbearable. And The Tall T might be the best example of that. The landscapes add to the mood too. Wide, empty spaces that make the characters feel isolated and trapped at the same time. And because the film refuses to rely on big music cues or flashy action, every small moment hits harder. Even though it came out during a decade overflowing with massive, star-packed westerns, this one stands out today because of how tight, mature, and emotionally grounded it is. It's the kind of movie that sneaks up on you, sticks to your memory, and makes you wonder how a film this sharp ever slipped out of Hollywood's spotlight. Anyone watching it now immediately sees the brilliance that audiences overlooked decades ago. 2. Ride the High Country, 1962. Sam Peckinpah's early work often gets overshadowed by his later, violent classics, but Ride the High Country is a western with genuine heart. It follows two aging cowboys dealing with a world that doesn't look or feel like the one they grew up in. At its core, it's a story about honor, aging, and the fear of being left behind. The two leads, Randolph Scott and Joel McCrea, have a natural chemistry that makes every scene between them feel honest. The film also captures a turning point in the West. Civilization is growing, morals are shifting, and these old-school cowboys are trying to figure out where they fit. While it wasn't a blockbuster at the time, it's beautifully shot, surprisingly emotional, and carries a quiet strength that later westerns rarely matched. Watching it today feels like reading a farewell letter to the golden age of the frontier. It's a film that Hollywood shouldn't have forgotten because it shows the Western genre at its most human and reflective. 3. The Shooting, 1966. If you've ever wanted to see a Western that feels almost dreamlike, The Shooting delivers exactly that. This movie doesn't explain everything. It lets the mystery hang in the air. Warren Oates plays a former bounty hunter hired for a strange journey, and Jack Nicholson plays a dangerous gunman whose motives feel unclear from the start. What makes the film fascinating is its atmosphere. The desert feels empty in a way that makes you uneasy. Characters speak in short, tense sentences, and the entire story feels like it's hiding something just out of reach. The final moments are some of the most haunting in any Western, not because of action, but because of what the movie refuses to spell out. It's low budget, raw, and incredibly bold for its time. Hollywood didn't know what to do with it back then, but viewers today can appreciate how ahead of its time it really was. It's a forgotten film that plays more like a slow psychological puzzle than a traditional Western. 4. Monte Walsh, 1970. Monte Walsh isn't about gunfights or outlaws. It's about cowboys who realize the world they knew is fading away. Lee Marvin plays Monte, a skilled cowboy who sees fences, machines, and new ways of life replacing everything familiar. The movie leans heavily into emotion without ever feeling dramatic or cheesy. It's about friendship, aging, loss, and the sad truth that even legends eventually get replaced. Jack Palance adds depth as Monte's close friend, and together they create a believable, heartfelt relationship. What makes the movie stand out is its realism. It doesn't try to glamorize the cowboy lifestyle. It shows it honestly, with all the exhaustion and heartbreak included. While other westerns went bigger and louder in the 1970s, Monte Walsh stayed small and personal, which is likely why Hollywood forgot about it. But that's exactly why the film hits so hard today, because it feels like real life catching up to the Old West. 5. The Hired Hand, 1971. Directed by and starring Peter Fonda, The Hired Hand is one of the most visually poetic westerns ever made. It tells the story of a drifter trying to return home after years on the road, hoping to rebuild his relationship with his wife. On the surface, it sounds simple, but the way the film handles silence, landscapes, and emotion feels almost meditative. It's a western about guilt and redemption rather than shootouts and revenge. The editing and cinematography use slow dissolves in warm natural light, giving the movie a dreamy rhythm that separates it from traditional westerns. At the time, many viewers didn't understand this new, softer direction, so Hollywood pushed it aside. But today, it's recognized as a bold attempt to reinvent the western from the inside out. It's quiet, emotional, and deeply human. Exactly the kind of film that deserved more attention than it ever got. 6. Pat, Garrett, and Billy the Kid. Original cut, 1973. Most people know the famous studio cut version, but the original director's cut is a completely different experience. Sam Peckinpah created a darker, more reflective version that focuses on friendship, regret, and the passing of an era. James Coburn plays Pat Garrett as a man trapped between his duty and a bond he doesn't want to break, while Chris Christopherson gives Billy the Kid a rebellious charm. Bob Dylan even shows up with a calm, drifting presence that adds to the film's melancholy style. The problem was that the studio panicked, cut the movie apart, and released a version Peckinpah hated. That version disappointed audiences, and the film slipped into the background. But the restored cut shows what Peckinpah really intended, something closer to a tragedy than a shootout movie. It's slower, deeper, and far more emotional. Hollywood may have buried it, but the original version reveals a forgotten masterpiece. 7. The Long Riders, 1980. Here's a western that had everything going for it. Great cast, intense action, and a fascinating historical angle, but somehow never stayed in the spotlight. The Long Riders tells the story of the Jesse James gang, but the twist is that all the brothers in the film are played by real-life acting brothers, the Keaches, the Carradines, the Quaids, and the Guests. This choice gives their relationships a natural authenticity that most westerns don't have. Directed by Walter Hill, the movie has a gritty, realistic tone with some of the most stylish, slow-motion shootouts of its era. The violence feels heavy, the characters feel flawed, and the story focuses more on loyalty and family than on simple outlaw mythology. For some reason, it didn't make a major impact when it released, but watching it today, you can see how much care went into every detail. It deserved far more recognition as one of the smarter outlaw films of its time. 8. Pale Rider, 1985. Clint Eastwood has so many iconic westerns that one of them was bound to get overshadowed, and Pale Rider is the forgotten child. It's one of his most atmospheric films, with Eastwood playing a mysterious preacher who rides into a mining town that desperately needs help. What makes the movie stand out isn't just the action, it's the mythic, almost supernatural energy the character carries. Every time he appears, the film feels like a ghost story wrapped inside a western. The story echoes older classics like Shane, but adds Eastwood's trademark silence and grit. The landscapes are beautiful, the tension is tight, and the ending leaves a lingering mystery. But because Eastwood made so many bigger hits, this one slowly faded into the background. The film is powerful, moody, and strangely spiritual, and it remains one of the most underrated entries in his Western legacy. 9. Quigley Down Under, 1990. This movie takes the American Western formula and drops it into the Australian outback. Tom Selleck plays a sharpshooter hired by a wealthy rancher, only to discover his employer has horrifying motives. What follows is a clever twist on the classic Western story, with wide-open landscapes, dangerous wildlife, and a hero who has to rethink everything he thought he knew. The fish-out-of-water setup gives the movie fresh energy, and Selleck delivers one of his most charismatic performances. It has humor, heart, and some genuinely impressive long-range rifle scenes. But in the early 90s, big-budget action movies pushed westerns aside, and this one never got the attention it deserved. Today it stands out as a bold experiment, one that proved you can take the western spirit anywhere in the world and still make it feel authentic and exciting. 10. The Missing, 2003. Before westerns made their big comeback in the late 2000s, The Missing was quietly doing something really different. Directed by Ron Howard, it follows a frontier mother and her estranged father as they race to rescue her kidnapped daughter. Cate Blanchett and Tommy Lee Jones give powerful emotional performances that ground the story. What makes the film special is how it blends classic Western elements with darker, almost thriller-like tension. It doesn't shy away from the harshness of frontier life or the psychological weight of survival. Despite its strong cast and gripping story, it never became a major hit. But watching it today, it feels modern, bold, and surprisingly intense. It's the kind of film that reminds you how flexible and emotional the Western genre can be when filmmakers take risks. So there you have it. 10 forgotten Westerns that prove the genre still has hidden treasures waiting to be rediscovered. Which one are you adding to your watch list first? And should we do a part 2 with even more lost Westerns? If you enjoyed this ride through the dusty corners of Hollywood, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss the next video. Saddle up for more soon.